Welcome back to HLN. We are on verdict watch today. Juries are deliberating in two big trials that we have been following. They're going on right now. In New Jersey, we start with this. Former Rutgers student Dharun Ravi is accused of using a webcam to spy on his roommate and their sexual encounter. The roommate's with another man. Tyler Clemente killed himself after that incident, allegedly because he was so embarrassed that his encounter with the other man, known as MB in this trial, was seen. Prosecutors say Ravi targeted Clemente because he was gay. He could go to prison for 10 years if he is convicted of invasion of privacy. There's 15 counts at stake here. The jury has a lot to think about today. Also in Atlanta, Hemy Neuman's defense attorneys say he was mentally ill when he killed a man outside of a daycare. Prosecutors argue Neuman was totally sane when he murdered Rusty Snyderman. Snyderman had just dropped off his 2-year-old son at daycare when he was shot to death. Prosecutors say Neuman and Snyderman's wife were having an affair, and that is what motivated the crime. He has pleaded not guilty by reason of insanity. Both of these cases, very difficult, complex here, have a lot of facets to them. The juries have a lot to consider. Joining me now to talk about both of these cases, criminal defense attorney Meg Strickler. Meg, I want to start with the Hemy Neuman trial. Will the jury buy the defense strategy that he was insane at the time? And if so, will he go to a mental institution? What are the counts here that the jury has to consider?
Well, the jury's got to understand the bipolar psychosis concept that the defense is trying to argue here. And that is, if they have somebody in their family, a loved one, that they have seen a manic episode, perhaps this defense will fly. I'm not real confident in this defense at all because a psychotic episode doesn't usually last weeks. And Hemy Neuman was seen 8 days before trying to kill Snyderman. So there's a long episode here. And there was a lot of cogent thoughts during this episode that makes this defense very, 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 very weak. So I don't think it's going to fly. But you never know what juries are going to do here, so we'll see.
Yeah, you really never do know. We talked about Andrea Snyderman. She seems to be the focus, Meg, of both sides kind of targeting her, and she has not been charged with anything. So can the jury consider that she did know that maybe she was behind the murder? Because both sides are kind of saying that to the jury.
Well, understand, in this case, Andrea Snyderman testified. She was the first witness for the prosecution, and she did a horrific job. You don't answer a question going, nope. That shows such disrespect to everything. So the jury will infer quite a bit, and the defense wanted to point that out. She was the one to put the gun in Hemy Neuman's arms or hands. That's what he said in his closing argument, Mr. Peters did. And that's what they're going to see. And remember, Andrea Snyderman did not do anybody any favors with her behavior in the courtroom.
Yes,
remember, she got banned.
She was even kicked out of the courthouse altogether. Yes. They're saying you're not allowed back in. All right, switching gears, big case we're watching all day. The jury is out on this. Tyler Clemente sadly killing himself. Dharun Ravi on trial, facing 10 years behind bars. Yeah. Tell me this, Meg. If Tyler had not killed himself, would we be here discussing this? Because the jury can't take that into consideration when deciding here because he's not being charged with Tyler's death, right? Right.
He's not being charged in any way, shape, or form with respect to the suicide. But remember some of the statements that Tyler Clemente made to the Rutgers University saying, I'm not feeling very good about what happened here. He talked to the resident advisor. So some of his thoughts and statements were brought into this trial. So we are separating his suicide from this case. This case has to do with tweeting, public domain, public things this guy was writing about this poor soul. And that's what's on trial here. Now, remember, there's 15 counts. That's a lot for this jury to have to go through. And I watched this morning, the judge giving the jury instructions. I got confused. The jurors have a lot to go through. And I predict the jury will take a few days to go through this, and they're going to find something guilty here because he did tamper with evidence. He did tamper with the witnesses. Those are givens. Now we got to worry about that hate crime. And I think they will find that too, and he's going to go to prison.
Meg, if you're confused and you're an attorney, I can imagine what the jurors are going through right now and deciding this man's fate. Meg Strickler, thanks. We'll be checking back and throughout the day if the jury does come back. Thanks, Meg.